So we're going to call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or changes?
Nope.
Council? Hearing nothing, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Diane, a second.
I'll second.
Second by Joe. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. We have the minutes of the April 3rd, 2019 regular meeting. Anyone have any changes to those minutes?
None here.
Nope.
Hearing nothing, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Joe.
I'll second.
Second by Diane. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Police Department monthly, I'm sorry, public, first time. Public open forum. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak to the council? Anyone here who wishes to speak to the council? Lastly, is there anyone here who wishes to speak to the council? Hearing no one, our public open forum is closed. We have no public hearings tonight, and that puts us into reports and presentations. 6A, Police Department Monthly Report.
Good evening, part of council. Activity report for March 2019. Some of the numbers we had for March, they were down, but we had 9 alarm calls. We did 17 personal assists. We did 47 assists for businesses. We did 26 assists for other agencies. We had 16 citizen contacts. We wrote 11 citations for driving after revocation, cancellation, and suspension. We had 3 felony warrant arrests. We had 4 juvenile problems. We had 32 matter of information calls. We had 18 medicals. We gave 6 citations for no Minnesota driver's license. We patrolled at the school 29 times. Patrolled at Walmart 64 times. We had 18 suspicious calls, 9 thefts. We had 11 snow emergency vehicles towed, I think, during the snow emergencies that we had. And let's see, we had 10 welfare checks that month, and we gave out 167 verbal warnings. So total calls, we had 481, 167 verbal warnings for a total of 648 for activity. Compared that to March, we were up by calls by 62, up by warnings 65, a total up 127, and then compare that to 2018, we were down 104 calls compared to 2018, and gave out 116 less warnings, so down to 220 total. So otherwise, March was a pretty quiet month, which was good.
Chief, I have a question there. You've got 11 people that were pulled over that didn't have a driver's license. Either it was canceled, revoked,
Yeah,
or after suspension. If they're driving like that, they would not have car insurance, would they?
more than likely, most of them don't.
Because I know the insurance won't back you up if you don't have a license.
Correct. Yep.
That's bad news.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Yep, thank you.
That also moves us to our 6A2, Stearns County Attorney's Office report. I do not see Janelle here, so I think,
I didn't hear from her. Usually she calls me and says she's on her way, but I'll check my phone, but I didn't hear from her, so I don't know.
okay. We'll come,
Yeah.
yeah. Do we need her here to review it? I can, I guess, maybe comment on highlights for anyone who's interested too. Usually Janelle comments on our diversion program, Stearns County diversion program. Her letter to us to start her report says that most of the adults that, the adult diversion program in 2018, 50 adults met the eligibility criteria. Total number of adults admitted to the diversion were 43, 23 females and 20 males. Currently, 38 adults have successfully completed diversion, 2 are pending disposition, and 3 were terminated or sent to court due to violation while in diversion. Most of them, 40 of them, had misdemeanor offenses. 3 adults had gross misdemeanor charges, and the most common offense diverted was theft or shoplifting with 42 cases, or 42 cases, 98%. Our specific jurisdiction of Sauk Center, there were 2 adults who qualified for diversion. They both joined diversion and successfully completed their programs. 2 juveniles qualified for diversion. Both were admitted and successfully completed their program. They together performed 215 hours of community service. Adults had 123 hours and juveniles 92 hours. Last year, they focused on educational classes that correspond with the offender's charges, and that resulted in fewer volunteer hours than past years. 1 adult completed 6 hours of volunteer work in Sauk Center, helping at a business with data entry, filing, and paperwork. And she has also included in the packet a breakdown of the types of offenses, the number of people enrolled, those who were suspended, what they were suspended, or not what they were suspended for, but the offenses broken down by tier, and an overall summary. She also has a Sauk Center prosecution contract report for 2018. The Stearns County Attorney's Office continues to provide prosecution services, and she wanted to thank us for continuing to use her as the prosecution for Sauk Center. And you all got a moment to look over the report? Yep. She's not here for questions, so I think we will move on to Kathy, Ambulance Department report.
Good evening, council members. I'm here to present the first quarter report for 2018 for the Sauk Center Ambulance. In January, we ended up with 19 no loads, 5 advanced life support transfers, and 14 basic life support transfers, and 25 medical calls for a total of 63 runs for the month, which compares to 56 in January last year and 47 in January 10 years ago. So of that 63 reports for January, the total number of calls that were billed out was 42 for a total of about 47,000, just over 47,000. February resulted in 16 no loads, 8 ALS transfers and 11 BLS transfers, and 27 medical calls for a total of 62 runs, which compares to 65 from last year and 49 10 years ago in February. And of the 62 runs, the total number billed out for February was 46, and that was just over 54,000 that was billed out in February. March, we had 7 no loads, 7 ALS transfers, and 21 BLS transfers, 28 medical calls for a total of 63 runs, and that compares to 60 last year for March and 32 10 years ago for March. And of the 63 runs for March, we had 56 of them were billed out for a total of 68,000, just over 68,000. So it was 188 total so far for the year that we've been out on. First quarter special details that the EMTs have participated in, and that we did not generate. We don't generate run activity reports for these, so this is over and above that 188 runs we've been on. In January, we did EMTs visited the second graders to provide tours of the ambulances and demonstrations of equipment, and that was as a thank you for they tie blankets and then donate them to the ambulance so that we can give out to children that we come in contact with. And then we do the CPR in the schools for the senior health class. February is Heart Month, and we visit the senior center during their February meeting to review the AED, the defibrillator, and other equipment and answer questions for them. And then also in February, we did our flower delivery fundraiser in conjunction with Coburn's. So that kept us busy this year. And then March, we did an ambulance EMT visit to the First Lutheran Church for their Gratium Club for rig tours and equipment demonstrations. And mutual aid, we responded into other ambulance service, primary service areas when they were tied up and need assistance in covering calls or for multi-casualty incidents. And we've been into North Ambulance area 3 times, with the receiving hospital on those to Alamere and Alexandria. And then Melrose, we responded 2 times into their PSA. Once we took a patient to Sauk Center, once to Melrose with that. And then you can see on the, to the cancel no loads, the main reasons why we are canceled. Crashes and falls, lift assists, fire standbys are the main ones we respond to. And you can see the receiving hospitals for all of the regular medical calls that we've been on. Any questions on this report?
Questions?
I don't have a question, just asking in general, have you received a positive response on the advertisement for EMT recruits?
No, I received 1. I had 2 other phone calls, but then they did not come through with applications. It was kind of a gamble this time, a test. I put, because the classes coming up are daytime classes, so, it has to be somebody that has a real wide ability to be available for day call and day classes. So we might have to find some evening classes somewhere and then repost for it and try it again.
Is the current schedule putting stress on any of the current crew?
Yes. We have transfers. People don't want to call in for backup because they're afraid, because the backup crew gets paged out quite frequently. And with all of our transfers that we get, they're calling in for backup from work or during the night when they're sleeping, and they're afraid to call in for backup for fear that they'll get paged on a transfer, especially one of the long-distance transfers. So it is putting kind of a strain on those of us who are on the crew. So if you know of anybody, send them my way.
Kathy, at the First Lutheran Church, it's a spelling typo.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's called the Gradatum.
Okay,
Gradatum
sorry.
Club.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's okay. Good job. And I see we used the Lucas once, too.
Yes, we did use the Lucas once.
Good.
Okay, any other questions?
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Public Works Department, Ben?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Update on the senior center. The water line did thaw out this week and the water is working again, so we're no longer pulling water off of the neighbor's house. We're going to keep our eye on the parking lot, and if we see any water leaks start to surface, we'll have to address repairing that line, but as of right now, everything looks okay. We've continued to do ash tree removal with help from the PUC. They've been helping a lot, and Melrose Public Works came in for a couple of days to help us last week as well. Last week we had a snowstorm, so we spent a couple days moving snow. Last weekend was the gun show. That went well at the arena. A lot of people were up there. They had a good turnout, and things went smoothly. Everything is cleaned up from that and put away from the event. Just something for you guys to be aware of. The arena parking lot is in pretty tough shape. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a large chunk of asphalt that's missing, and there's a lot of waves in it just with the ground moving and vehicles driving on it. So that's something that is going to need attention in the near future to get repaired. Next week, we're going to get the campground ready for the May 1st open date. Next week, April 22nd, we're going to be transferring to 10-hour days, and we'll keep one employee on 8-hour days Monday through Friday, so we'll always have Friday coverage. And there's also going to be a seasonal employee working Fridays as well, so we don't have anybody working by themselves. Had an unexpected expense last week during the snowstorm. Our 2012 Freightliner plow truck made some noise in the rear end while he was plowing. We brought it to Ream right away and got the quote back today. They just started working on it. It's going to be about $4,900 to repair the broken differential. The differential went out. It wasn't anything that the operator did or could have prevented. It's just a mechanical failure that happened, but just wanted to make you aware that there's kind of a large unexpected repair expense coming. With that, that's everything on my report.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you, Ben.
Okay, thanks.
Planning Commission meeting? Sarah?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. In your packet, you have a copy of the Planning Commission agenda. We held 2 public hearings, and the first one was for a zoning map amendment, which is an action item a little later on the agenda, and a code amendment regarding home occupations, which is tabled to a future meeting for more research and to find some appropriate language if it is needed to change that ordinance, or we may keep it the same. The March building permits, For the month of March, the total value was $468,000, and we did approximately 8 or 9 permits for the month of March. And then you also got a copy of the quarterly totals for the first quarter, and that's just over $893,000 of new construction or remodeling. And so far this spring, it's slow, I think the weather, but we have a couple of new houses that we just issued the permits for. And so they're trying to break ground and get started on those. And we also have the informational items about land use incentive program and the League of Minnesota City workshops and the GTS workshops that our planning commission can attend.
Okay. Questions? Comments? Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Then move on to our action items. 7A, approve ordinance 789, amending the zoning map. That is one of the public hearings that the planning commission held.
Yes, also in your packet, on page 31, at the April 9th, 2019 regular planning commission meeting, the commission held a public hearing, after which it was voted to recommend to the city council approval of an ordinance amending the zoning map, changing the zoning of a residential parcel on Beltline Road from single-family residential to industrial commercial. And you have a copy of that map on page 33, and the top map shows what it looks like now, and then if this change is approved, it shows the gray, which is industrial commercial, and you can see that it abuts next to a lot of industrial commercial property in that area. So I don't know if there was any questions for me or for the applicant.
Is there any questions of Sarah? Everyone knows where this property is located? Okay. And in the public hearing, Mr. Borgening had stated that he really didn't have any plans for the property. It was just that he had an agreement that he would buy it if it could be rezoned. So there is no plans or anything like that as of right now, so. Any other questions or comments? Do I have a motion to approve the ordinance 789, amending the zoning map?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion by Heidi, a second by
I'll second.
Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
7B, accept resignations of the Sauk Center Fire Department. We have in front of us that Mark Sprengler was started with the department in July 1 of 1996, and Mark Roberg was started with the department January 1st of 1989, and they both have resigned their positions with the fire department. Do I have a motion to accept the resignations of Sprengler and Roberg from the Sauk Center Volunteer Fire Department?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion by Diane. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Heidi.
Joe can have it.
I'll let you have it. You spoke first. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. And I want to thank Mark for both their years of service with the fire department on behalf of the city. 7C, approve final adjustments, local board of review and equalization. We actually held that on Monday, and we had 2 adjustments, but we handled it then and we adjourned the meeting. So there is nothing with that one. We go on to unfinished business. 8A, 2018 capital improvement project updates.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Last week, we had 2 good meetings to kind of get things rolling with the project for Phase 2. We met with hospital staff and kind of went over everything they need to keep things moving at the hospital level. And then on Tuesday, we had the pre-construction meeting. Everything went well. It looks like construction will start reclaiming on April 29th. They might start on some tree removal next week if things work out. And then construction's expected to last to September for phase 2. Along with John Fivig, we came up with a good school bus detour route. The plan is to pick kids up along 5th Street while Oak Street is being done, and then on Elm and 5th Street while Elm is being done. The West Alley will be kind of one of the first things that the tree removal will be done. There'll be private utilities working in there for the month of May, relocating utilities to the outside. And on June 10th, the hospital corner is being planned to be constructed, so wherever the contractor is at that time, he will relocate to that corner, and so everything's kind of worked out with the hospital for that time frame. And then for all the residents, if they have any questions, they can contact Dan Salo or myself. We sent out a newsletter this week to all the residents, so which is included in your packet. That's all I got. So.
Okay. Any questions? I just got one. When they, toward the end of the project, at the end of this summer, when they put the tar down, are they doing the second lift on the first project, or are they going to wait and do it all in one?
For the final course, we extended that to later this year, just to, because there'll be a lot of construction traffic still up there for phase 2, so we don't want to have that impact it. So we'll do the final lift on phase 1 this year, but phase 2 final lift will be next year.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
2019 street project bid opening, April 25th, 2019, 11 o'clock. So anyone that wants to be here for that can, and that will be handled at the council level on May 1st. 8C, seasonal park / street department interviews. That will be a recommendation that will be coming to the council also on May 1st, just for your information. 8D, plan of action for the Emerald Ash Borer. Jim?
So I'll update everyone on where we're at. The main areas that have been infected so far, primarily on the 800 and 900 block of Ash Street, the Riverview townhomes between Ash Street and Highway 71, and also on Getty Street near the intersection of Cass Street, which is by Subway. So there's kind of like a strip right through there where we found it really bad, and that's where we've been focusing our efforts on removing those trees. We have a small number left to go. We do have to be done by May 1st. We should be done next week. With the PUC's help, that's helped us greatly. There's some that we marked that have it, but they're too close to buildings or personal property that we're not able to take down, so the homeowner is aware of that. We took down everything that we safely could without jeopardizing anything in the process. The process, we've been chipping as much of the tree as we can, and with the large pieces that are left, we're saving them, and at the end of the month here, I'm going to have someone come in with a portable sawmill, and he's going to mill some lumber out of those large logs that we have, and then we'll dispose of the bark through our chipper. So that's an acceptable method to get rid of this stuff. There's going to be an informational meeting on Thursday, May 9th at City Hall for anyone that's interested in attending. It's going to be from 6 to 8 p.m. and it's being put on by some members of the Minnesota Department of Agriculture. The week of April 29th, there's also going to be some people from the Department of Agriculture in town to do a survey of ash trees in town and take a look, and they're just really interested for their own knowledge and purposes of being here, and it should be beneficial to us too in case they see something that we don't. I mean, they look at this stuff all year long, and we're just getting into it now, so I think it'd be beneficial to have them come in and look around too. Going forward, we're going to put together an inventory of ash trees in town that are located on public property so that we can plan for treatment or removal. And there is a potential to treat some trees, and we're going to look at that in the campground in Sinclair Lewis Park. Costs average about $5 to $7 per diameter inch, so it can get expensive fast. The Department of Ag has studied this, and they said the best economic value tree to treat is in the 12 to 20 inch diameter. So if you get outside those ranges, it's not effective to treat those trees, not cost effective anyways. And if you treat a tree, you're gonna have to treat it every year going forward. You can't just treat it once and be done. You're gonna have to continue to treat it until you either decide to take that tree down. You know, if you would plant something next to it, let it get a little bigger before you remove that one. These are all things that we're gonna look at and develop a better plan going forward. We do have a list of acceptable trees for homeowners to plant, and we would like to see a diverse population of trees. That way, when an issue such as this EAB arises, we don't have such a large percentage of our trees being taken down at one time. Helps spread that out and not make town look so drastically different in a short amount of time. But going forward, we are going to make a better plan of how we're going to handle everything.
Okay, questions? I noticed the first 3 trees are elms that are listed on this chapter. Do we have to worry about Dutch elm with those?
I don't think so.
Okay. Because that was the last tree disaster we
Right.
had in town, and
Yep.
the plant elms go right back into another phase, but that's the reason why I asked that question.
The Department of Ag has placed an opinion that they think maple trees will be our next issue, so I wouldn't plant a lot of maples.
Okay,
But that's, 10 to 20 years down the road, but that'll be here
Right.
before we know it too. We have cut probably about 70 trees as we stand right now, with another 10 or so to go, so we'll have probably taken about 80 trees when we're all said and done with just this initial wave, but it'll start showing up a lot more this coming year as well,
sure.
so, yeah.
So 12 to 20 inch trees, linear diameter at $5 to $7 per linear. So we're looking height, not diameter.
Just,
Diameter by recommendation, but the
Yep.
height is what's going to drive the cost.
nope, just the diameter of the tree.
Diameter.
So they measure it about 4.5 feet off the ground. That's where you measure the diameter. So a 12-inch tree at $5 is going to cost $60.
Okay.
On the low end. Yeah,
And that cost is every year until you
Yeah.
decide to take the tree down.
right. Or if they find a better solution, it's still being studied. It's only been in the U.S. for the past 17 years, so they don't have all the answers yet. This is just what's best right now, but in
Right.
10 years, maybe they'll have something better. We're not sure.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
We have no new business. And then take us to our consent agenda. We have a schedule of claims of $51,466.04 for a total of the same amount. March checks totaling $453,867.55. We have a gambling application for exempt permit request from Sauk Center Chamber of Commerce for a raffle on July 19th, 2019 at Sinclair Lewis Park. And the Arbor Day proclamation is included in this calendar. Is there any questions, comments? If not, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make the motion.
A motion by Diane, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Joe. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. Informational items. Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day is June 12th, 2019. We have the Metal Recycling Day, which is May 18th, 2019. And the Safe Routes to School grant, we were awarded that grant, and that looks, according to the paperwork, is a work in progress. Basically, none of the grant money or anything like that is allocated until the spring of next year, after the state comes in and sits down with us and goes over where they see that it should be gone through. So,
Did we have discussion when that was happening that it might also apply to the north or to the south end sidewalk?
you mean
We
along
might
Main
be able
Street?
to allocate some of that, or is that
That,
not considered?
that's a possibility. I think it was discussed, but as far as, they'll all depend on what they have got for guidelines right now as far as where the school is. And that's a lot of, looks like we'll have a few more meetings
Yeah.
added to our normal list of meetings to attend on that one. Any questions on the informational items?
Oh, I noticed on the cleanup day that absolutely no RV refrigerators. Keith
Okay.
would want me to ask.
I'm sure.
Yes, he would. So that brings us to the end of our agenda. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Heidi. Do I have a second?
No second.
Second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. Meeting adjourned.